Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel Anita and I like to do videos on mental health, neurodivergence, finances, lifestyle, just about anything that I want to do. Today we're going to be doing a video titled, as you can see, managing relationships when you have ADHD, or this can apply to a lot of neurodivergencies as well. But I'm really excited to make this video because it's come up a lot in my different vlogs, in my Q&As, just tons of different videos, and I always touch on it briefly but never really get into it. And I've had a few questions about like, how does your husband handle that? Or even like, that's not very nice to your husband, or just like all these kinds of things. And I think it's important to recognize that people with neurodivergencies like ADHD have difficulty with relationships. Now, this is all based on my own experiences. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm none of the above, but I just want to share with you what has worked for me personally. And so let's talk about this, because I have been working on my relationships for a couple of years now, trying to find the best way to handle them, the best way to improve them, the best way to live my best life in terms of my relationships with other people, whether it's coworkers, partners, romantic relationships, best friends, family members. And so I just want to talk today about my process, and that hopefully that you can implement in your own life to better improve your relationships and lead a happier lifestyle. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to like and comment and subscribe. It really helps me out. I love reading your comments and I try to respond to every single one because I just love hearing your stories and your own experiences, and it makes me feel closer to you guys. Let's get started. Okay, so I feel like I got a wake-up call on my friendships when my best friend once reached out to me and told me that I was being a bad friend. And I already knew that I was being a bad friend. Like, this was something that was on my mind, and I was like, I knew I hadn't been reaching out to them as much as I should be. I knew that they were having hard times and I wasn't reaching out and asking how they were, even though I wanted to, you know? I love these people, and I'm sure you love the people in your life. And I know that but we have like a unique set of barriers that prevent us from doing the things that we want to do, you know, even like, despite how much we want to do them. And so I kind of like really set a fire behind me when one of my best friends reached out to me, and she's like, hey, you're being a really bad friend. Like, if something doesn't change, you know, I don't know if we can be friends anymore. And she was 100% right. You know, like, I didn't bite back and be like, well, you're not being a good friend, blah, 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 even though like I could have done that instead. But instead, I, you know, really thought about how I did not want to lose this person as a friend, that I care about them so much, and I acknowledged that my own behavior was not up to par. It was not what they were asking for. You know, I acknowledged that I was at fault here. I was not managing my relationship with her well, and that I needed to improve. So my first tip is to assess your part in your relationships, whether it's with your family members, your significant other, your friendships, colleagues, all of that stuff. You know, like, really look at your situation. Like, are you having a hard time with friendships? Like, are things feeling funny, you know? And acknowledge, like, or like think, do you feel like you might be neglecting your friendships and relationships? Do you feel like this is something that you are doing that's not their fault? And, you know, think back to when you last contacted your friends and family. Was it a long time ago? Was it short? Was it abrupt? Have you been longing and wanting to reach out to them again? You know, are they reaching out to you more than you are reaching out to them? Just think about all of these things and, you know, acknowledge your part in it. Like, be honest with yourself. Yeah, I'm not reaching out to them as much as I should be. They are reaching out to me more than I am. You know, I have friends that call me often and I don't want to answer the phone, but I know I need to do better, right? Or even just talk about it directly with them. So assessing my own part of my relationship, for example, with that friend, I was like, you know what, I'm not doing good enough. I'm not reaching out to them. I'm not there for when they need me. I know that they were having a really tough time right now and I could have been there for them. Or even my relationship, you know, like, I think about my current relationship and I'm going to tell you like what I think I could be better at. my husband is someone who likes affection and physical touch, and I am someone who is bothered by physical touch, like, because I have sensory issues and I don't want to be like getting touched and cuddled all the time, but I know that's something that he needs. So that's, for example, that's something that I know that I could do better, even though it's not something I like love to do and think about doing. So, you know, look at those relationships, look at what you need to do better. Like even at work, I know that I need to be more present and be louder at work. I need to brag about my metrics. I need to brag about the job that I'm doing. I need to speak up in my meetings, because instead I'm just being quiet, and that is affecting my relationship with my colleagues because they're not hearing from me. So those are just examples of how you can assess your own relationship and your own part in, you know, how those relationships are going. Now let's move on to action. Once you've assessed your part in relationships and what, you know, which relationships you're having issues in, I think it's important to then take action. You know, think about the things that you could do to improve. If needed, you might have to have direct contact with those people in your life. I'm someone who can't really guess what people are thinking. I don't really know what they need from me. In my head, I'm like, I don't want to reach out to them, but maybe if I'm told what they need, that would help me. So, you know, I reached out to that friend who told me that she didn't want to be friends with me anymore if I didn't get my shit together. And she was like, I just need to hear from you, you know, like I need you to care about what's going on with me. I need you to reach out to me. I need you to be there for me. And, you know, I asked her directly, like, what do you need from me? You know, and that's what she told me. And I was like, paranoid. I texted her every day. It was probably really annoying for the next like week or so. But since then, like, I'm not perfect. I still don't reach out to her like every week or every 2 weeks even. But I'm so much better. You know, like I never want to text someone. Like I sit there and I think I don't want to text this person right now. But if I'm able to just get myself to do it, it's really so good because it shows that person that I care, which I do care. I just, something in my brain is like, you don't have to message them, you know, but I do. You know, so you can be direct with that person. Like even with my husband, I can be like, what do you need from me? Like I feel like our relationships, like some conversation that my husband and I often have is like, I love you so much. You know, I've been feeling really good about our relationship. I feel like we've been really improving with the demand avoidance issue that we had talked about a few weeks ago. But like I just want to make sure that you're okay and that you're getting what you need from me. And being honest and open about, whenever I say that, I think about The Bachelor. Being open and honest with your relationship, with your partner about what they need and what you need is very important. Now my husband, again, likes affection, likes physical touch, and so he'll tell me like, I just need you to cuddle me at night sometimes, you know, like before we go to bed. Like I always like have my phone, I do a little bit of games, and then he's already asleep, and then I knock out, you know, no cuddling or anything. But I know that he needs cuddling, and sometimes he tells me directly, he's like, can you cuddle me tonight, or can we like hold hands or something? And that helps me to do it. Like I enjoy cuddling, I enjoy that physical touch. But I need to be reminded to do it sometimes. So I've told them like, listen, like I need you to be direct with me. If you need physical touch, you tell me, you know? But also I do, now that I know that this is what he needs, because we've discussed it, when I'm sitting on the couch, just like chilling, and I think to myself, oh yeah, he likes physical touch. It just randomly pops into my brain. Even though I might not want to, I'll scoot on over, give him a hug, you know, rest my head on him in a way that I'm comfortable with. And I enjoy it, it's nice, but it's not something I think about. It doesn't come up in my brain to like immediately go over without prompting or without reminders. And so for me, I need to, again, I was direct with my husband, I asked him what he needed from me, and then I did it, right? For example, like work colleagues, you know, with my manager, the relationship I have with her, I don't like when managers are like vague and kind of brush over things. Like, you need to be doing like a little bit better at work, you should be more focused, or you should speak up more in meetings because things are getting weird. Like I will tell my manager, like, can you explain more on that? Like I need more examples of what I can do to make it better, as I really want to help, but I don't really respond well to like vague comments. And so then my manager can go to me like, management has been saying that you're not really stepping up to the plate lately, and so we need to hear more about what you're actually doing. We need to see your data, we need to see the metrics. And so that helps me more than what she has said before. It tells me, okay, this is specifically what I need to do. Because if she hadn't told me that, I would be like, it wouldn't process in my brain correctly. I wouldn't know really what to do, and then I wouldn't do it, right? Even though obviously I need more data, but it just doesn't work in my brain that way. So my manager telling me directly, me asking her to tell me directly what she needs from me, what others people need from me, helps me so much. So being direct and being open and honest is really helpful, you know? Example with my friend, so another friend recently, so I have a lot of stressful things going on in my life right now. My dad's very sick. I have my mental health problems, my little sister, you know, relationship things. Just like, I am very overwhelmed. And so I have a friend, one of my best friends ever, she was calling me like every day. And phone calls for me can be very triggering because for me, phone calls, especially from family, it's often very bad news. Especially the last 2 years, when my like parents call me, I'm like, oh fuck. Or my little sister calls me. My little sister, before, like now when things are so much worse, she was up and down, and she would call me at 4 in the morning. And so calls can be very triggering for me, because I knew if she was calling, something really bad was happening, and it was horrible, you know? If my parents were calling, my mom called me. I was sitting on that couch when my mom called me and told me my dad was intubated because he was probably gonna die because of a mistake in a biopsy, and then we found out he had pancreatic cancer. Just phone calls are so bad for me. And so whenever my best friend would call me, I would get triggered. I would be like, oh my god, I can't answer this, I don't want to talk to her, and I know she's gonna talk about something that's not serious, and right now I'm handling all these serious things. And I basically, and like what would have helped me if she had texted me before, letting me know she was gonna call me. And I think this goes back to control as well, because I don't like to be out of control, and so if there's a surprise call that comes in, that's gonna put a break in my day and affect my flow, like of what I've been doing. And so that was really stressful to me. And so I was getting worse, and I was like, she was calling me so much, and I was being a bad friend and not answering her, just forwarding her calls. I didn't want to talk. And so eventually I had to talk to her, and I was like, listen. And she was going through a lot too, but I needed to make my needs known too. You know, like, and first when I picked up the phone, I talked to her about the serious thing that she wanted to talk about, and then I said, hey, Kat, I just need to like let you know that I need you to call me a bit less, or at least call me, but before you call me, I need you to text me what it's about. And we were working together at the time too, and so I told her, and if it's something work related that you can solve by yourself, or that you don't need a phone call to, that you can get a text response to me for work, please just text me, because phone calls are very triggering to me. And so I basically said to her, you need to call me less, and you need to text me before you call me. And you know, we ended that conversation, and she said okay, and she, you know, obviously that's a hurtful thing to hear from somebody, like, call me less, you know, but it's what I needed at that time, and it was affecting our relationships. I didn't want to talk to her at all, and I wanted to talk to her. I just was getting very overwhelmed, and she would call me without texting first, or call me all the time, and it just wasn't good. And so we got off that phone today, and I felt like a huge weight off my shoulders, while also acknowledging that we would probably have to have a conversation later, because it's a hard thing to hear, right? Now, she did call me back later, and she was like, I really had to think about what you were saying to me. At first I took it by offense, and I thought to myself, like, she doesn't want to hear from me, like, am I annoying, am I stupid, am I whatever? But then I thought to myself, like, she just needs boundaries. Like, she is going through a lot, and I am calling her a lot, and there are things that I could just text her about for work. And so she had to process this herself, you know, she had to go through that process of, is this me? And then, you know, changing that thought to think, no, it's Rachel. Rachel is going through a lot. She needs this from me, she needs that from me. And she also told me, she's like, I need more from you on this one serious issue, you know. So we were able to have an open conversation about what we needed from each other. So that's another example of me being direct with someone and telling them what I need. So once you have you know, decided or assessed your part in relationships, assess what you need from people, it's important to make those changes, you know. Like, once you've been direct with someone and told them what you need and or heard what they need from you, it's important to actually make those changes. Now, again, I have like object permanence issues. I live very far away from all of my very close friends. They live across the country from me, and so if I don't see them, I don't think about them. And so I've had to do a few different things to make myself think about them more. And that includes adding them to my starred contacts so that they pop up, their name pops up more often on my phone. I've turned on notifications for their Instagrams and for their TikToks so that their name again pops up on my phone more in notifications. And getting that little reminder, a lot of time I don't text them even when that happens, but sometimes I'm like, oh shit, like it reminds me that I didn't text them back about something, right? And so then right then I might get the whimsy to message them back, and that wouldn't have happened otherwise. You know, it's important to, you know, once you assess your relationships and decide what changes you want to make and hear from them about what you need, it's important to actually make those changes. For work, I feel like one week I'm very motivated to do the data thing and to present more, and then the other week I'm not at all. But now I have 1 out of 2 weeks where I feel motivated. So I'm going to do that during that week. You know, I'm going to put together a quick slideshow, show my data, and that's going to make a huge difference because all of a sudden my manager is telling me that everyone's happy with me or whatever. And again, I'm not like always there for my friends. Like a friend that I'm trying to really strengthen my relationship with them is a friend that lives in San Diego. And when I was living in California with my dad, trying to take care of him, with my family, with my mom, I never saw my friends, even though they were way closer to me than now, you know, and I spent 6 months there and I saw my friends maybe 3 times. And that really, you know, was hard, but also like I had to put a change in my mentality. Like, I need to see my friends. My friends are important to me and I want to keep them, and it makes me feel good to see them. And so now the latest times that I've gone to California, I've stayed with my friend in San Diego. You know, she expressed that she liked a blanket that I made for Corn, and I made one for her and her cat, you know, and I sent it to her. Like, just those little thoughtful things that you're thinking about someone, you know. And I feel like it's important to change your behaviors and not just be the same. Now, like one of my other friends, my friends have also been texting me more, you know. It's for like silly friend things. Like, I'm the FBI friend who, whenever they need someone's search or like guy looked up, like I get sent that information, and so I'm looking it up. But it's good to just talk to my friends about the things that we would always talk about, you know. And there are some friendships that I still need to work on, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm trying to work on that. You know, I'm not perfect, but I'm working and I'm trying my best. Again, for my like relationship, it's just about like when those thoughts pop into my head. Oh yeah, he likes affection. Okay, I don't really want to. I'm enjoying my space on this couch on this side, but I'll move on over there and get comfortable and cuddle, and he'll love it. You know, it'll make him feel so happy. And it's just a little thing I can do that I will also enjoy. I enjoy cuddling, but I just don't think about it, you know. But yeah, it can be so hard managing relationships when you have ADHD or neurodivergency. It just doesn't come into our heads. But yeah, like, it can be so easy to just stay set in our ways and not make changes because it's hard. But it's also important that we are able to look at our own choices, look at what we're doing, and improve our own lives if we can, you know. I know it takes a lot of mental effort, it can be hard, but again, it's important. It's important to improve our own lives, to acknowledge where we can do better. And that's something I try to do in my everyday life, and that's something I like to talk about on my channel. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope it helped you out. If you have any questions, I'd love to do a part 2 on this if there's enough interest. I'm also hoping to do a video on ADHD and neurodivergency in jobs soon. And if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Again, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out. Turn on those notifications so you get notifications from me. And yeah, check me out on Instagram. I post things there occasionally. Well, yeah, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good day. Yeah, thank you so much.